The senator has just traveled to Mexico and Guatemala, where he met with top officials to talk about the crisis. And, sir, you returned on Friday, exactly 1 month ahead of the vice president's scheduled trip to go to that region. I understand you say this crisis needs to be fixed now and that it's imperative that the VP sees what's going on firsthand. Senator Hagerty exclusively joins the Faulkner Focus. First of all, you're watching this in real time now. I have to just get your first-person reaction to this.
Yeah, Harris, it's great to be on with you. And I think what you're seeing, what Bill just showed in the footage, is the urgency of the situation. This is the gravest national security crisis that we're facing right now as a nation. It has to be dealt with now. That's the reason I took the very first trip that's come from the United States Senate, the first official trip. I took it to Guatemala and Mexico to get to the heart of the problem and to underscore the fact that this is urgent and clearly it needs to be dealt with now. You see people's lives at risk right in front of your eyes today.
Senator Hagerty, when this happens, do you then request an audience with someone in the White House? How does it work? Have you talked with the vice president? I mean, if perhaps she could see and hear directly from the Senate's first official trip through Senator Bill Hagerty, could that change things?
I hope it could change things, but it seems the White House is more preoccupied with even what to call this. They can't get around to calling it a crisis. They can't get around to scheduling a trip to Mexico for yet another month. I mean, this is something that needs to be dealt with immediately. If you look at what's happening in my home state, Harris, we've had a dramatic increase in drug overdoses, in deaths from drug overdoses. The crime element associated with this is enormous. Sex trafficking happening in my home state of Tennessee. We're receiving unaccompanied minors into my state. The schools are being told they're going to have to deal with them. The hospitals are trying to figure out if they have capacity. There are more questions unanswered than answered right now. That's the reason I made this my first trip, is to underscore the fact that the Senate does take this seriously. We have the power of the purse, and we want to see this addressed right now.
Senator, did you just say schools? Because, you know, that we got people in this country that kids haven't even gone back in person yet. I mean, is this what people are talking about when they say this is a burden on an already hard situation during a pandemic for America's children?
Absolutely, it burdens America's children in the sense that the schools will be overloaded. It burdens our hospital system, and think about what it does to the lowest level of our economic structure here. Those Americans in the lowest end of the economic ladder are going to have even more pressure, more downward pressure on their wages, and more competition from people that are flooding across the border. And I can assure you of this, I talk with leaders in Guatemala and Mexico. The majority of the reason people that are coming across the border is for economic reasons. That's not a reason for asylum. They're coming here for a better job, a better way of life. We're creating a giant help wanted opportunity right now because what we've done is extended unemployment insurance, plussed up unemployment, all the way through September. We have employers in my home state of Tennessee that can't find people to work. That message is being sent loud and clear to folks in Central America, folks in Mexico, and as you just learned, coming from Venezuela. It's like a giant help wanted sign. And what people do down there, this is what the leaders made very clearly to me. They listen very carefully to what's coming from America, whether it be campaign rhetoric or whether it be executive orders from this White House. But when they hear a candidate like Joe Biden say, if I win, I'm going to treat you better, that creates a sense of hope. A sense of urgency is created when you hear them talk about 100 days moratorium on any deportations. And then the false promises of a $15 minimum wage, of $1,400 stimulus checks for illegal immigrants, of free COVID vaccinations. All of this is being marketed by these coyotes, the coyotes that you saw on television right there. They're creating false hope in these people. These people are putting their life savings on the line, and they're endangering themselves tremendously. More than half of the people that are caught up in this movement are the victims of crime along the way, whether it be sex trafficking, whether it be involvement in the narcotics trades. And by the way, the Mexican government and the Guatemalan governments that I talked with, they see the cartels getting stronger every day because their revenues are going up. These are lawless organizations that are growing by the moment, and China is deeply involved with all of them.
Oh, that's an interesting last point on China and its involvement. I want to go deeper on that just real quickly.
Sure. Well, what's happening is that fentanyl is coming through in increasing numbers. Chinese cartels are shipping more and more fentanyl and its precursor agents into Mexico primarily. That's where the drugs are being created. That's where they're being shipped and marketed from there into our nation, going into the veins of our kids and killing them. That's the Chinese involvement. They're also involved in the drug laundering, I understand. the money laundering for these drugs. So the Chinese cartels are getting stronger, more revenues. The Mexican cartels are getting stronger and more revenues. And the governments of Mexico, the governments of Guatemala and others are suffering as a result. They don't want to see crime grow in their own country, yet these large crime organizations are thriving right now because of the situation that we've created at our border.
You know, all of this brings about the point of those agreements that the former President Trump had made with those countries. And from what you're saying, and I've seen interviews with you before, and I've been reading, what you're bringing, this first-person account after meeting with these officials, is, I would think, Senator, why the Vice President has to go there and go there now. You're getting so much information in person that maybe is hard to gather outside. I appreciate your time today and your expertise. I look forward to having you back. Senator Bill Hagerty of the great